At the end of a work shift, a crew was packing up the site for the day. The excavator operator and teamster were tasked with refueling the excavator. The tool truck, containing the slip tank, was backed into position using a spotter. Once the vehicles were in position, the spotter then left for the day. After fueling was finished, the operator handed the hose and nozzle to the teamster to be wrapped and put away. As the teamster walked to the front of the pickup truck to disconnect the leads from the battery, the operator returned to the cab of the excavator. The operator checked his mirrors and didn't see anyone in the danger zone. He began to swing the excavator in order to move the machine to its parking spot for the night. Meanwhile, the teamster disconnected the leads from the truck battery and returned to the side of the truck to wrap up the hose, unknowingly entering the danger zone. Hearing the machine start and the engine engage, the teamster tried to exit the space between the vehicles. However, the rear counterweight of the excavator made contact with him. At that moment, the operator turned his head and saw the teamster, stopped the machine immediately, and turned off the ignition. He exited the machine to check on the other worker. Luckily, the teamster did not sustain injuries, but the outcome could have been much worse. So, what went wrong? Let's take a closer look. First, while the crew did do a risk assessment earlier that day and discussed hazards and controls, including the work task of operating vehicles and equipment, they didn't address non-excavation activities, such as refueling equipment. The fueling-refueling risk assessment, along with the safe practices and procedures, should have been reviewed prior to the task. All work activities must be considered during the development and review of the risk assessment, including the non-excavation tasks. Workers must review the risk assessment anytime a job task changes. Next, the standard parking and fueling position of the fueling vehicle and excavator resulted in a larger blind spot. It is essential to establish an accurate danger zone, determined by the swing radius of the equipment. Next, the teamster inadvertently positioned himself in the operator's blind spot and didn't recognize he had re-entered the danger zone. All workers must be aware of the danger zone. If workers need to enter the danger zone, the equipment should be de-energized and keys removed. Remember, all tasks, including pre-work and setup, are part of the job and must be treated with the same level of care and awareness. Workers should never enter the danger zone when equipment is energized. Next, the equipment was energized while the fueling worker was in the danger zone. Best practice is that the worker responsible for refueling has control of the equipment and must ensure appropriate lockout procedure. Another factor was that when the spotter left, the role wasn't reassigned. A spotter should always be assigned when moving the excavator. In this case, with limited personnel, the teamster should have become the spotter to direct the operator's movement. Finally, the teamster re-entered the danger zone without notifying the operator. All workers must establish visual communication with an operator when entering the danger zone. A longer hose in this situation would have allowed more space for the teamster to work. This incident reminds us of how important it is to consider safety in all tasks, big or small. And we can take steps to ensure something like this doesn't happen again. Review risks before every new task. Establish an accurate danger zone, and take time to ensure everyone knows what it is. Remember, the person fueling should be in control of the equipment and its lockout. Assign a spotter whenever the excavator is being moved, and always establish visual communication with your crew when working in a danger zone. Finally, look for opportunities to alleviate the risk completely. It's easy to become complacent with routine work, and this incident reminds us to be aware and responsible for the safety of everyone on the work site.